So I really didn't want to make this build, but if I didn't make this build, I feel like I would be doing a huge disservice to all of you who watch my channel. Every once in a while there is a build so good that it just blows me away, and that's pretty hard to do. If I'm being 100% honest here, I think this is the best build in all of Destiny 2 because it just covers every aspect of the game that you could think of. The gameplay is all from the Mythic Tier difficulty, so we're locked to -50 under. I think this gameplay speaks for itself, and if you're currently struggling to complete quite literally any content in the game, whether that be the Mythic story missions for that Tier 4 gear or the new raid, just put this build on and play Titan. It will make your life so much easier. You turn into an absolute tank, protecting your entire team while healing them all, while being able to have 3 barricades up at once. You're just keeping everyone alive behind you and giving everyone bolt charge for those lightning bolts to rain down for a ton of added damage. I covered this build early last season. It was the 3rd build I posted in episode Heresy, and I literally titled it Titans 1 Heresy Season with this build. In no world did I think it could get better than what it was, and yet here I am updating it because it's too good not to. And that's all thanks to the exotic changes, and probably an exotic you haven't used in forever. So obviously the whole build is built around Rally Barricade, and if you guys didn't know, over the past few seasons this has got buffed quite a bit on all Titan subclasses, and the barricade taunts PV combatants that are in front of it, and they all shoot at the barricade instead of you. And then Bungie also gave it a ton of extra damage resistance against PV combatants, especially splash damage. I think it's like 80%. So basically when you're standing behind any sort of barricade, you're pretty safe. And that's what made it so strong last season, is there was an artifact mod that would heal you when bolt charge would go off. Well, Bungie literally baked that in for us now, which is crazy. You pair that Rally Barricade with Storm's Keep. You guys all know what this does. Cast your class ability, it grants you bolt charge to you and nearby allies. When you guys are behind that barricade, you gain stacks of bolt charge over time, and your weapons can discharge this bolt charge from far away. It just adds a ton of extra damage. And in difficult content, that's where this really shines, especially in something like the Mythic story missions where everything is such a tank. You pair that with Spark of Frequency as a fragment, while amplified, you gain increased stacks of bolt charge from all sources. So now you're stacking those bolt charge quicker behind that barricade. And then a ton of people ran different exotics with this last season, but now there is one that stands above the rest when it comes to behind that barricade, and that is Crest of Alpha Lupi. It has the perk on here, Survival Well. It got reworked this season. You generate an additional orb of power from supers. Cool, that's great. But the better part here is generating a barricade. So just when you put your barricade down initially, it heals you and your entire team, or dealing sustained damage or defeating targets from behind one creates a healing pulse. So now at its core, whether it's just putting down the barricade, dealing damage to any enemies, or defeating enemies, you're now healing yourself and your team. Now it's nothing crazy. I think it's only like 10 or 15 HP on the heal of that pulse. The initial barricade, when you put it down, that heal is actually pretty strong. I would probably say that's 80 or 100 health on that initial heal. There was some times where I was in the red bar and it would jump me all the way full. Now the smaller pulses aren't crazy, right? But the whole point of that is you're already behind that rally barricade, so you have so much damage reduction that if you add just in a little bit of healing, you guys are going to survive. And then the last part of Crest here is healing your allies grants barricade energy. So before we get into that, we have the new stat rework, right? So if you're running 100 class, your rally barricade cooldown is already at 19 seconds. That is very low. When you pop your rally barricade out on the field, you want to know how long it lasts? 20 seconds. So if you're playing well and positioning barricades well, you don't even need any regen coming from outside sources. So technically you could drop this class stat down a bit. You could probably run like 60 or 70 class if you're running with 2 other people and get away with it really easily. But in all the gameplay you're watching, I had 100 class. And as you can see, that heal pulse, when I heal allies, gives me roughly about 30% of my class ability back. So I could have about 3 barricades out myself in any given instance because I was regenning that barricade so fast. I paired that with 100 super, and then I also had 90 weapons. That way I was hitting about 14% harder with all of my weapons. So again, you could probably drop the class stat down a little bit, but when I was in solo activities, I really didn't want to do that because I wasn't getting the extra regen of my barricade off the heal pulses, right? But I had one up every 19 seconds, which was just great. And that's without adding any mods to the build that give me my barricade back quicker. I mean, you could run something like utility kickstart on your class item when you're solo, so every time you use your barricade, it gives you that regen back initially, right? and that's where your armor charges go. Now, as far as your mods go, there's not really anything in the artifact mod that makes this that much better. I guess you could add in shield crush in there. When you're amplified, your grenade recharges faster and deals increased damage. On the helmet, I took a strand siphon because I was primarily killing things with my strand weapons to create orbs of power, and a heavy ammo finder. Since I was using an exotic primary a lot, I was spawning a bunch of extra heavy ammo for myself. On the gauntlets, I like a firepower, to create orbs of power with my pulse grenade. A bolstering detonation, especially when I was solo, grants class ability energy when you cause damage with a grenade. And I chose to take a grenade font here as well, just so it allowed me to push my grenade stat up to like, I think I was at 60 or 70 grenade stat. That way I could pair that with the pulse grenades and touch of thunder as my other aspect, and be getting pulse grenades back quite often and letting those ionic traces that come back to me and get those quite often. For your chest piece, that's just your damage reduction, so match whatever activity you're doing. A concussive dampener or a sniper resist makes a lot of difference in the mythic content, so if you have those sniper shanks everywhere, make sure to put the sniper resist mod on. On the boots, I was running one arc weapon surge and one strand weapon surge to get 10% extra weapon bonus damage to all my weapons all the time, and then a recuperation replenish health each time I pick up an orb of power. On the class item, time dilation, to make those weapon surges last longer, and the font surge. A Reaper, so every 10 seconds my weapon would spawn an extra orb of power because I was popping barricades so often, and a Bomber to just get my grenade back quicker when I'm popping those barricades. I already went over the stats on the build with you guys. For the rest of the subclass, you could build this out any which way you want. My other aspect was Touch of Thunder with pulse grenades. That could also be Knockout for some extra defense and survivability, but I don't really think you need that there. And then your fragments is stuff just like Spark of Resistance for extra damage resistance. I had Spark of Magnitude on to make my pulse grenade last longer. We already went over Spark of Frequency, and then I had Spark of Beacons. While you're amplified, your arc special or heavy, weapon final blows create a blinding explosion. But you could build the rest of that out how you want. And down below, I'll have a dim link and a mobalytics link you can click on and see exactly what I was using if you want to copy everything. But it really is just your barricade, it's Storm's Keep, it's choosing good weapons, and it's pairing it with Crest of Alpha Loopy, and really just playing into that barricade usage and around your barricade all the time. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a great rest of your day.
If that does not go in your YouTube video tomorrow, I'm gonna be so upset with you.